his law partner.
Okay.
So we've handled and assisted with applications throughout the state and also in Massachusetts, and I'm pretty familiar with what's going on throughout the country, and I haven't seen any sensitive use areas that are less, let's just say, that exceed 1,000 feet. So the most I've seen is 1,000 feet across the country for any issues in terms of residences. School volatile was considered safer, but when the state is considered even volatile, they say 200 feet from a residence. And the volatile manufacturing area is the only area in the law that even deals with residences in the state.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question to confirm this applicant is applying for the cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution license. I have two questions. One, can you expand a little bit more on the micro business license type and what that means specific to this applicant?
I can just say in general, micro business just means that there's 3 types of activities at one location. That's just the definition under the state law. So that's all that means. Is a micro business means those 3 businesses can be sort of integrated together at the same location. And otherwise, a business would have to have 3 separate licenses that could be right next to each other, separated by walls. But micro business just means there does not need to be any walls between them. They'll all be a part of the same integrated business.
Okay, and can you provide, thank you for that by the way, and can you provide some specifics around the manufacturing arm of your proposed business?
Yeah, the manufacturing it's non-volatile manufacturing, and it would be essentially the main component would be manufacturing. It's like the oil that's used in vape pens and edibles, which is actually a safer way of ingesting cannabis. A lot of people think than smoking. But that's what it would be primarily, non-volatile manufacturing of cannabis oil.
Got it. Thank you.
Distribution, which you guys understand, but just so everyone understands, it involves basically taking the cultivated product to the testing lab, and then ultimately taking the cultivated product to a distributor, and then from the retail facility, which is outside the city. So that's the role of the distributor. So it's clear.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other comments or questions?
Business license type, and just another operator who would hold multiple license types is with the manufacturing. They're only allowed to do non-volatile type 6 manufacturing. It's also important to note that while the applicants are saying it's non-volatile, under the fire regulations, it's still considered flammable. The process is flammable, so the strict requirements that the fire department has for manufacturing will apply to both facilities. So they will be monitored and have to comply with all the rigorous fire requirements.
And I just wanted to add one more element to the micro business. When someone is a micro business, that also means that they have a cap on their cultivation canopy. So a micro business cannot cultivate more than 10,000 square feet under the micro business license, whereas if you have multiple licenses, that is type.
What's the square footage again for the cap?
The cap is 10,000 square feet, which applies only to micro business licenses.
Got it.
So I have a question here. So non-volatile, does that mean that you don't? Thank you.
Thank you. If there aren't any more questions for these applicants, applicant 1864 and 1894. Do we have a second?
I apologize. If we can have this, the applicants now grab a seat,
Oh,
and then I heard whispered. I didn't hear what the motion was.
Okay.
Mr. Fain just had one more point in response to the last question. We moved on, Mr. Fain.
I just thought I would address very clean organic methods. There aren't chemicals that end up back into the public system in any way, and everything is actually processed with essentially the equivalents of household products, low energy usage and this sort of thing. So no environmental impact for all.
I do have a question to touch upon that. What are your safety precautions for workers? And is there any type of certification training to teach workers how to handle machinery and equipment at your location, at your business?
Yes, absolutely. We have to follow all safety and protocols that would fall under OSHA requirements. And so I come here representing with these guys because we know beyond important, beyond our operating and turning we want to do something that's legal, that's compliant, that's conscientious, that this business that has always been categorized incorrectly, and now's a chance for us to actually give the benefits and provide better good for all of us.
And I just wanted to add, by the operator. In addition to the fact that the fire department is going to do their own checks, but in terms of everybody who's using it, they're going to be taking the class certified setup would be, and they're going to be using all of the measures, the safety measures that apply to, in addition to the cannabis world, but just apply to.
So questioning that, is staff going to be monitoring that as well in terms of what's going on at these businesses?
And I would also add, Commissioner Serfoso, I know you missed the last Planning Commission meeting and we covered some of this there, but if you review ordinance number 700 in the development agreement, you'll find an answer to many of these questions. It speaks to odor control, it speaks to inspections, pre-inspection, fire code, security plan. It's all spelled out in the development agreement as well as ordinance number 700.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? All right, thank you. Okay, I was going to introduce a motion. My motion was to approve 18-64 and 18-94. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order and precedent set by the City Council, I would like to introduce an alternative motion which does take precedence, a motion to recommend denial for the two applicants you have proposed.
Is there a second?
A second.
We'll do a roll call. Commissioner Rajeda? The motion is to deny 64 and 94?
Yes.
The substitute motion? Yes. Commissioner Serfoso?
Yes.
Commissioner Peraza?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Lainez?
I support the motion, yes.
Chairperson Gonzalez?
No.
Motion to deny passes on 4-1.
All right, so now we're going to move on to 23, 18-23, and 18-86. We have the applicant for AE Investments.
Mr. Chairman, the application number is 18023, AE Investments. They're located at 4234 East Pacific Way.
Hi, Edward Choi, 12121 Ocean Boulevard.
Do we have any questions for this applicant?
I think along the same lines as the questions to the previous applicants, what were some of the concerns? What prevented the recommendation of approval for this specific applicant? No, that's actually for
Mr. Commissioner, some of the concerns were with the four that do not have recommendations included just timely submittals. We didn't feel that we had enough time to evaluate all of them at the same level that we did some of the applicants in our first batch, that we had more time to evaluate their site conditions, their business operations, or vet them out through our process. While they did meet the minimum standards necessary, with some of our operators that did gain staff recommendation, we were able to fully vet them and we had enough time. And a lot of the applicants before you today, the four without a recommendation, were some of our applicants that submitted their information at the latter end of the process.
Okay, thank you. And so I asked the applicant a similar question. Could you explain the latency of the delivery of the paperwork and some of the application?
I apologize for the lateness of the paperwork. We tried to work as fast as possible. I think part of it was on the location of the facility. We wanted to make sure that we can comply with location.
Can you bring that up on the map again, please? Be helpful, thank you.
guess I have another question for the applicant and nobody else. Can you describe the manufacturing arm of your business? What do you plan on manufacturing? Just provide some specifics around that, please.
I would have to apologize. My my business partner who handles that would be better served to answer that question. I'm more on the business side of things rather than the manufacturing.
Did you have a question, Commissioner Grajeda?
Well, I'm thinking it would be more helpful to have his partner here to answer our questions, and I'm wondering if we can just continue this to the next time we meet. I'm not sure when that's going to be.
I'll introduce a motion to table the item.
I'll second.
Maybe a roll call?
Commissioner Serposo,
Yes.
Commissioner Grajeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Lainez,
Yes.
Raza,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you'll be in contact with the applicant and coordinating when the next meeting would be for that. Okay, thank you. Okay, can we get applicant 1886?
Mr. Chairman, 18-086 is NCR, located at 7220 East Lawson Avenue.
Okay, can we pull that up too on the map as well? Can we also, actually, this one is off of Slauson. I'd like to see what the distance is to the nearest residential, which I think is on Greenwood. Sorry. There's some residential land uses over there by Watcher Street and also more to the north, northeast.
And then closer to the Jack in the Box.
Yeah, see where that Jack in the Box is on the right? There's a neighborhood there. But it looks, after looking at this, we do have those residential areas right there where it says Watcher Street. There we go. So that's about 1,200.
Remember that you do have the railroad there.
Yeah. What's the distance to the neighborhood near the Jack in the Box off of Greenwood?
About 1676. And this one is, about 1200 to 14.
And what about the one, that one? Yeah, 1,200?
1282.
Okay. Yeah, it's a distance. Yeah. Does the commission have any questions or comments on this applicant?
Apologies, I didn't properly introduce myself. Martin Kaufman, I'm president of MCR Group, 2300 Westwood Boulevard, Los Angeles.
Okay. Do you have any comments for Mr. Kaufman?
Not specifically for Mr. Kaufman, but I do have a question for staff, and maybe Ebony, you can help me here. Same question as the previous applicants.
This applicant, we had no specific concerns with the project location, but we did have, again, the timely submittal situation, so we didn't have the same amount of time as we did with our previous applicants. Also, I'd just like to remind the commission that we did have a speaker tonight to discuss from the HOA that discussed several issues regarding this.
Thank you.
If I may respond. With regard to the submission, as the commissioners may recall, our original site location was in the Washington corridor. So we went to great lengths to actually terminate a lease, go on a search that would provide us with a heavy industrial location and then ultimately obtain a spot that we think is absolutely fantastic for this business. We went out of our way and invested tremendous time and money to make sure that we were going to be compliant with specifically what this commission would want from us, which would be to be in a heavy industrial area where we would not have any direct impacts on any residences or any other community impacts.
Sorry, any comments or questions? Okay, do we have a motion?
I have a motion.
Okay.
I have a motion to approve the resolution recommending the approval of development agreement 18086 MCR.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Serfozo,
No.
Commissioner Grajeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Peraza,
No.
Vice Chairperson Lainez,
Yes.
Chairperson Gonzalez.
Yes.
Passes 3-2. Similar as legal counsel before, there's also the CEQA portion of it, the second part of the recommendation for an agreement that has been recommended for approval. And you'll find that in part 3 of the recommendation. Is there a motion to that effect?
I would actually, given the license types, and just to confirm, we're talking about cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution, correct, for this specific applicant? Can you answer that?
Yes, sir. In addition, we also have the non-storefront retail delivery that we applied for.
Got it. So given the multiple license types, specifically with manufacturing and cultivation being a part of your business, I would actually like to introduce a motion to deny the recommendation for exemption from CEQA.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Grajeda,
No.
Commissioner Serfozo,
No.
Vice Chairperson Lainez,
Aye.
Chairperson or Commissioner Peraza,
Yes.
Chairperson Gonzalez.
No.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
City Administrator, could you clarify the motion, or Vice Chairperson, could you clarify the motion you made?
So the motion that the Vice Chair made was to deny the CEQA exemption, and it was 3-2 against.
No, I don't. That's a no.
So why don't we clarify again? So your motion.
Would you like me to introduce the motion again?
Yeah, just so that everybody knows what they're voting for.
Sure thing. I would like to make a motion for the denial of recommendation of CEQA exemption for this applicant.
And I'll second the denial of recommendation for exemption.
Commissioner Serfozo,
Yes.
Commissioner Grajeda,
No.
Vice Chair Lainez,
Yes.
Commissioner Peraza,
Yes.
Chairperson Gonzalez.
No.
3-2 to deny the item 3.
So just to be clear for staff, we are recommending approval with a reevaluation of the environmental.
That is correct.
Just can we get a quick summary of some of the decisions that were made tonight?
Yes. We have application 18-023AE investments tabled to a future unscheduled meeting to be later determined. We have application 18-052 DJCC moving forward with a recommendation of denial. We have application 18-059 Commerce Concentrates with moving forward with a recommendation of approval. We have application 18-064 Not Stan LA moving forward with a recommendation of denial. We have application 18-086 MCR moving forward with a recommendation of approval but with additional CEQA analysis. We have application 18-094 Corvette LLC moving forward with a recommendation of denial.
Thank you.
And if I can add to that, the 18-059 had the recommendation to make the findings of a CEQA exemption. So that will move forward with the recommending exemption from CEQA.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and well, that concludes this portion of.
Is there 074 that?
That one was removed. It was withdrawn before the meeting.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, they're withdrawn from the meeting, not from the actual process.
They withdrew from the process. That's correct, or?
Property complications, and so they withdrew from that address, so it's invalid, so they're still active, and we're going to be taken up by the commission in the future.
Got it, okay. Thank you for clarifying.
So just to clarify, the ones that you have postponed to a future unknown meeting be application 18-023, application 18-005, 18-013, 18-046, and now 18-074.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that concludes this portion of the meeting, and now we're going to move on to our commission reports. Thanks everyone for showing up and being here late with us. I know this is a long meeting, and you know, congratulations to those that we met our I guess our requirements, or you know, so thank you.